Movies and TV shows love to portray medieval warriors training in pristine courtyards with shining swords, archers hitting perfect targets, and knights repeating choreographed movements as if they were part of a modern military academy. But the truth was very different. Medieval soldier training was unequal, improvised, full of gaps, and often brutal. In the Middle Ages, there were no permanent professional armies like we know today. Most kingdoms did not maintain troops training year-round. Instead, armies were assembled only when war began, bringing together people with completely different backgrounds, levels of preparation, and combat experience. In general, medieval soldiers fell into three major groups: those tied to the nobility, free common men, and mercenaries. The first group included knights and men-at-arms who belonged to a noble's household retinue. These soldiers were the closest thing to professional warriors in medieval society. For them, training was not a phase of life, it was a way of life. Noble children began early. From a young age, they learned how to ride horses, hunt, wrestle, and endure physical hardship. Their teenage years were filled with practice using wooden swords, shields, and spears, as well as exercises meant to build strength, stamina, and coordination. As they grew older, training became more serious. They practiced with real weapons, learned mounted combat, charged with lances in jousts, fought on foot with swords, and trained to move in formation. Hunting was not just leisure, it was practical training for pursuit, teamwork, and controlling horses across difficult terrain. Tournaments also played an important role. While often seen as sport, they were realistic simulations of combat. Knights tested technique, courage, and endurance, while also gaining fame and prestige. All of this, of course, was expensive. Weapons, armor, horses, and free time were privileges of the elite. That is why the nobility formed a relatively well-trained military class. For common freemen, reality looked very different. Most of them were farmers, craftsmen, or city workers. War was not their main occupation. Still, the law often required them to own weapons and serve when called. The quality of their equipment depended entirely on income. Wealthier men might own a sword and some armor. Poorer men usually had only a spear, a simple bow, or even improvised weapons. Their training was irregular and collective. There were no professional instructors and no daily routine. Preparation often came through community activities. In England, for example, laws required men to practice archery regularly, especially on Sundays. Across Europe, shooting guilds for archers and crossbowmen became common, particularly in urban areas. In Italy, cities organized public mock battles in town squares, using shields and blunt weapons. These events were training, entertainment, competition, and celebration all at once. Even so, preparation was inconsistent. Many men entered war with little real combat experience, learning under pressure, in the middle of battle. And then there were the mercenaries. Mercenaries did not train in schools, nor did they rely on legal obligations. Their training came directly from war itself. The more battles they fought, the more valuable they became. Experience was their currency. Veteran mercenaries knew how to move under fire, hold formations, react to chaos, and survive. Some gained such fearsome reputations that they could win conflicts without fighting, simply by being known. For them, the battlefield was the classroom. Every war was an intensive course, and every mistake could be fatal. Because large-scale battles were relatively rare, first-hand experience was incredibly valuable. Veterans were respected and sought after. Young soldiers learned more by listening to stories, studying scars, and training alongside seasoned fighters than from any written manual. There was no formal system for maintaining skills. If a warrior spent too long away from war, his abilities would fade, literally and figuratively. Many sought conflicts in foreign lands simply to stay sharp and avoid falling behind. Because in the end, the battlefield showed no mercy. It didn't matter if you were a noble or a peasant. When formations collided, those who were unprepared died quickly. In the Middle Ages, training was a privilege, but death made no distinctions. If you enjoy deep, realistic explanations of warfare and military history, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here on War Explained, we break down war as it really was, not as the movies show it. See you in the next battle.